The topic that I plan to deliver, as I said, is chasing women. And this is literally one of the most devastating things to us men at some phase in our lives. We find ourselves in the chase for women. And what makes it even harder for us all is that women ain't running. So they're putting on the lashes, y'all. I'm not even gonna go into the description. Y'all know what they're doing, posting photos, all that. But before y'all go off, sisters, understand that I come in peace. So this isn't like a live to bash on sisters or anything like that. I'm not coming from this holy position. We're all in this together. All I'm doing is sharing a few practical steps with the men to help us in resisting the temptation of chasing women or vice versa. So us brothers over here are all innocent, and I just want to put that balance over there with saying what I said about the sisters. We're posting photos with our shirts off, with tight muscle shirts on. We're brother not saying, I'm just in a box. What am I saying? I like to show certain exercises, brother. I like to wear a hoodie or some warm-ups. Look, I know that those things are, I understand it, but we just got to watch who's around us. So for example, who's watching? Are we alone? Or do we have some eyes on us? You know what I'm saying? So we both, male and female, have to strive to do better for each other. And most importantly, ourselves. How do we do that? By the work and help of Allah, we will leave this short 7-minute talk with a few clear and defined steps that we can practically take in order to solve or prevent this problem from deteriorating our lives. So my goal is to make this the clearest and quickest and most practical talk you've heard today. So I want it to be so clear that a caveman could understand it. That's the best way that I can put it. So let's start with this. Brothers, the longer we see women in the wrong, impulsive manner, the farther we distance ourselves from having the women we couldn't possibly dream of. We're humans of perception by nature. And some of us base our lives on perception. And there's nothing wrong with having a perception, and there's nothing wrong with taking action on that perception. But is that perception right? And we sometimes skip this step, especially as us men in this process, because some of us have this mindset of, I'm always right. So I want us to think about the woman that you want in your life. What would she want from you? What would you have to be like in order to be with her? And how much responsibility and difficulty are we willing to undergo in order to become the right man for that right woman? Well, I'll tell you what, brother, I see. I'm gonna get a gym membership. I'm gonna build these muscles up, do some bulking, and I'll have that woman begging from you, brother. Look, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with losing weight to prepare for marriage or anything like that, brothers. But the problem is that some of us set out to build and tone our muscles and our bodies, and afterwards think to ourselves that we got it. After we build and tone our muscles up, we think that that's all that's needed in order to advance and in order to get that right woman. And so, you know how we are. Look at these biceps, I'm ready, But if our physical bodies are what we use to measure our degree of readiness for marriage, then what kind of marriage are we preparing ourselves for? See, the thing is, when we build our physique up, we are qualified. We are qualified for marriage. But we're not qualifying ourselves for that sincere, lifelong, committed relationship. We're qualifying ourselves for that lustful, sneaky link, cheating relationship. And that's just the truth. What we do outwardly in this scenario really doesn't mean anything. We can get married, we can speak good words, we can do what gives us attention and praise, but what was our intention for being married in the first place? And we touched this on the previous live. Why are we posting these photos? Why are we doing this? And it'll always go back to what I said on the previous live, but for those who weren't there, I said, why we do a thing will always overpower the magnitude of the thing we did in the first place. And so that's why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in a tweet, what you do is limited by why you do it. The purer the motive, the greater the energy that will lead to greater success. So, brothers, if sex is the goal for marriage, then we're going to go out, build this body, then attract a woman who's doing the same. We will only attract what we are, and that's the truth. So, if we want to marry for sex, we'll get a woman just like that. And when we're like that, we drive those right women out of our lives because those right women know that we aren't the right men. Any smart, intelligent woman knows that a marriage based on sex will never last. A marriage based on sex will unfortunately more than likely end up in a divorce or both spouses cheating on one another. We don't need to go and try out to find out. It's everywhere around us. You see it in the shows and you see it in real life. Brothers, that's why we got to build not only our muscles up, but build our character up more importantly. And that's the practical step for today. Because when we stand on righteousness and live on a higher standard of life, we won't be attracted to the ones who aren't. We end up finding the right woman because we were the right man before that right woman came into our lives. So I hope that point made sense. That's something I really wanted to point out and remind us as men, that striving to build and cultivate what we don't see is much more important than building what you can. Now, I'm not saying, quit your gym membership. There's balance. I'm not saying quit your membership and focus on this only, because we need to maintain our bodies. We got to build them. We got to be the protector. But let's implement some character development there. If you want to know where to start this way. I want you to grab a piece of paper. Well, no, let's be honest. Go in Apple Notes, because we got our iPhones now. We're using that. So go in Apple Notes, or if you're using paper, use paper, and write down the 5 top things about yourself that need improvement. That could be a bad habit. That could be just anything you want to fix about yourself. So once you do that, I want you to go and dedicate 20 minutes of your day striving to study information on that area you want to improve. So for example, if I'm trying to stop procrastinating, then I would go watch 20 minutes worth of video or so, striving to get action steps from these videos to implement it and apply it in my life. Now, of course, you can tweak how long you can study, but in the Nation of Islam, we're taught to go up to at least 45 minutes per day, and that was the prescribed limit given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Start off focusing only on improving 1 to 2 aspects. Only focus on those 1 to 2 aspects, because when you focus on a lot of things, the human being was not meant to multitask. So when you go do these things, it can be a little harder for you naturally. But no matter how you do it, be patient with yourself and your development. Forgive yourself for any mistakes that you make along the way to improvement, and use those mistakes to your advantage. Another tip that you can take home and that we can take home to help us is to change our environment and watch what we're feeding our minds with. In order to stop chasing women, brothers, or vice versa, we have to change our mindset and perspective towards them. And one of the best ways to do that is changing your environment. If we hang around friends that's talking about chasing women religiously, then it's probably best you try your best to, kind of make a little distance or talk to them and tell them that you're trying to change. Now, after that, after you let them know, don't just cut them off. Give them a chance and let them know. If they continue conversing about it, then you probably got to make that distance. And it may hurt depending on how close you are, but you gotta do it. And that question arises: how much do you want to improve? That's a whole nother segment in itself, but let's keep going. So this is not just with your friends and people that are around you. This could be on social media. So if the YouTubers you're watching talk about chasing women or vice versa on a constant basis, then you're in the valley of decision. Do you want to continue to feed your mind with that kind of content, or do you want to continue to strive to do better for yourself? In order to change your mindset, you have to change what you're feeding your mind with. And we're taught in the Nation of Islam that Islam is mathematics. Okay, so let's do some quick math, and you ain't got to be religious to understand. If I'm always hanging around a friend group of mine that consistently talks about chasing women or vice versa, what will I think about? What do you think I think about? Chasing women. It's just like a baby and the parents in a home. Whatever words the people in that house or whatever words the people in the environment use, the baby will start to think about it. Then it'll start repeating what you say. You see, whatever words you use as a parent to that baby will be programmed into that baby's mind to speak. And this isn't just with words, this is with actions too. If you do a certain movement, the baby's going to understand what you're doing, and naturally, it's going to do it too after a certain amount of time. Whatever you feed your mind with, that is eventually what you'll get in your actions. And the only difference between the baby and you is that you have the consciousness and the self-control to choose what you want to feed your mind with. So if you're trying to stop chasing women or vice versa, or stop doing anything for that matter, strategically changing what you feed your mind with is a definite must. And if you try this out and you have any questions, your little brother is here to help. Seriously, feel free. You can DM me for help, or I can get you in touch with a sister to help. We could even set up a Zoom to talk if you want to. My sole purpose for being right here is genuinely to help you. You know, I don't see myself as that high and mighty guy to where I don't want to have anything to do with you. My intention for saying what I'm saying is to ignite the strong desire in you to apply what God is giving you. It's not me giving you, this is God. It's not a burden to help. It's an honor and a true privilege, because you may not be told this, but in the Nation of Islam, we are taught that we are all God's children of the Most High God, who I believe, in my personal belief, is his proper name is Allah. So when you text me, I don't see you as these random people. I see you as God's people, not my people, but God's people. Muslim or not, he created us in the image and in the likeness of himself. And we have the potential to become a God, not the God, but a God with a little g, okay? Don't go into the words like that. But it's all about if we're willing to face the challenges that come in the pathway to become what God wants us to become. I'm nowhere near perfect, okay? But I'm striving to be. And from that striving, I experience unbelievable peace. And that's what I want for you, okay? So don't be shy. Your little brother in the nation is here to help. But that's it for the teaching aspect.